to Wild and Free Art. This is Elora, and today I want to welcome you to part two of making my Victorian inspired Christmas junk journal. So I last left you where I had finished making the cover, and then I said that I was going to work on some of the signatures. So in today's episode, in today's video, I am excuse me, I am going to take you along with me as I sort through the pages of the book and decide which ones I want to keep and create and prepare the signatures, as well as decorating some of the pages and making some elements for the journal. I hope it won't be too long, but it might hopefully inspire you a little bit if you're thinking of making your own Christmas journal. Once all the pages had been removed, I decided to go through them and decide which ones I actually wanted to keep as they were to use inside the journal, and which ones I wanted to set aside to use as elements to create other pieces to go into the journal. Um, I made these choices based on the images, whether I liked them or not, if the story was of interest to me to keep, or the tradition or whatever, because this was like an anthology of images and texts, poems, bits of short stories and stuff that describe Christmas at different times in that period. So basically, that is what I have decided to do. The ones to keep, the ones to use for other elements, where the whole signature as it wasn't how I wanted to use it. These are the final selections that I chose to use in the journal itself. Then off screen, I chose other pages and papers that I thought would work well in the journal, and then I just needed to cut them down and make sure that they all fit. Once everything was all trimmed and ready to go, it was time to begin the fun part, which is the decorating. So I kind of did a few random things. When I work in my journals, I am absolutely chaotic. I won't lie. But thanks to the power of editing, all of my 30 different projects that I start at once actually look like they've been done in some sort of sense and less chaos. So, thankfully for you, you don't have to see the craziness, which is how I work. One of the first things I wanted to do was to make some pockets to add in these beautiful vintage style Christmas postcards that I have. I absolutely love them. I think I got them in Happy Mail. I honestly don't remember who it was that sent it to me, but thank you so much. I love them. And the goal is, of course, to use as many elements of the original book as possible. So I chose a page that I thought would work, and I tore it down to size. Just inked the edges a little bit. I wanted to see the image that was above with all the people sitting at the table anyway. It reminded me of food. So that's why I ended up choosing the one with the Christmas pudding. And I just tore it and I inked it. Played around with decorating it a little bit until I felt happy and satisfied with it. And then I added just a few little bits of decoration, and I consider that done. Popped in the postcards. The next thing I decided to do was to make a tag from one of the images that I liked in black and white. And like any tag, it's pretty much simple. I tore it more or less to size so that the part of the image that I liked was visible. I got a piece of trash from my trash stash that I thought would suit the color and was the right size for the backing. And I glued it on and trimmed everything down. Did a bit of stenciling and inking to add some interest, and then took a while to decide what I wanted to use as a topper. Uh, I tried some bits of fabric, I tried some other ribbons and stuff, and finally decided on a ribbon and made a little charm to dangle off it using a candy cane and a little red bead on a bulb pin. After I finished my tag, I decided I, of course, needed a place to put it. So I used the other piece of packaging as a little tuck spot. But first, I decided to decorate the page that I was using a little bit by inking it. I folded the piece of packaging into a little space, into a little pocket, and then decided to decorate it. I played around with a few little collage type elements until I found something that worked for me. I put a little robin on with a little bit of a lace flower, and I found a little somewhat festive sentiment to go with it, and then added some red thread to keep going with, the festive Christmas colors. And when it was done, I popped in the tag. Another quick and easy method I used to decorate my pages was by tearing out a page from my dictionary. Not really, it was a universal reference book, and it was all about Christmas cakes and Christmas puddings and all sorts of things. So, obviously, considering I used the Christmas pudding and everything, and the other page was about food, I knew that that had to go there. So I just simply added it as a decorative element to the page by gluing it on with some PVA. I also made something else that I forgot to film. So unfortunately, I'm gonna kind of skip that. You'll see the result in the flip through. Um, but I then went on to create another kind of little pocket tag. I got these little paper advertisement things from a local pub, and I loved the drawings and designs on them. So I knew I wanted to absolutely use some of those, so I picked them up. I chose a part of the book that had something long and narrow. so I could keep the text as well as the image and use that to make a tag. And then I just trimmed it down roughly to size, chose chose the paper that I wanted and glued it onto the back. The paper wasn't quite the right length, so I trimmed off any excess and then I glued it on the bottom and created another little mini pocket that I can then add a little mini tag to or something in the future. Once everything was all glued down and sorted, I trimmed off the excess and then decided to use my very fancy corner punch to make some different shaped corners on the bottom of the tag and just to try it out and do something a bit different. Not sure that I'm 100% pleased with it because it did cut into some of the text, but I think it makes it look a little bit different and it's fun to try new things once in a while, I think. Once it was all inked up and ready to go, I just put a simple ribbon on the top without doing anything fancy for it because it will have other bits in the little pocket on the bottom of it. And now for the final bit of decoration for this video. I found in my stash a lot of decorative tissue paper and I found some elements that felt they could be wintry or Christmassy. Definitely anything with a robin on it. You'll see I have quite a few bits with a robin and some foliage that looks like it could be wintry foliage. So I thought that it would be nice to use as a decorative element on the pages to decoupage. So I played around with placement for a while and figuring out where I wanted it to be until I found a spot where I was happy. And then I just used some of my homemade Mod Podge, which is basically just watered down PVA glue, to decoupage it on to the page so that it would get that translucency, transparency, and you could still see what was underneath. Once everything was dry, I decided that it needed a little bit of color. So I decided to watercolor some of the images rather, and I just had some fun making them pop and have some color. So I've also decided that I think I will add some more watercolor elements to the journal as well, because I think it looks nice in the end and it gives that kind of oldie, vintagey kind of look for it. And that's it for me this week. I hope you found a little bit of inspiration with how I've been decorating the journal so far. Let me know what you think in the comments and if there's maybe any other ideas that you think I should put in that I've missed so far. I'm not done by any means, but you never know. In the meantime, I am going to wish you a wonderful weekend and happy creating. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.